Welcome back to Burning River Bushcraft. Today we're going to be starting the process of rehabbing this old aluminum canoe. Now this thing is rough. I got this locally. This was $50, and I figure for $50, if I can't fix it, I could probably scrap it for that price. So my first goal is going to be to make this thing brand new. I want to make this thing so it is as serviceable as it ever was. If that doesn't work, if this thing is beyond repair, if that's the case, then we're just going to do more of a canoe repair on the fly kind of edition. This is going to be just fixing this with maybe Flex Seal. I might try duct tape. I might try a couple different adhesives to get this thing going. Right now I haven't evaluated it at all. If this is the kind of thing you'd like to see, find somebody else's channel, because I don't really like doing this kind of stuff, but this canoe needs it. So go ahead and like the video anyway, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment in the comment box, and ring the bell to be notified of my latest videos. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Burning River Bushcraft. Someday you may actually find me on the water in this boat. My first step is going to be just to peel all this stuff off, see what kind of shell I have, and see if this thing's going to be usable. So if you ever wanted to know how not to repair a canoe, whoever did this would be the first person I would check with. And you see those are just screws, giant Phillips head screws it looks like. So you can see I've got my work cut out for me. I've just got to start peeling layers off and assessing this job. And this is just pretty shoddy workmanship. Even if you didn't know what you're doing, you could have done a better job than this. I could do better than this if I was to pop a canoe in the middle of the wilderness, if I'm just getting pine pitch and covering up and putting sheets of bark over it. I guarantee I could do a better job than this. Let alone if I had any modern ways to repair a boat like epoxy or Flex Seal tape or duct tape. This is almost unexcusable, but this will be a good learning project. This will be a good how to rehab an inexpensive boat and turn it into something usable. It's also going to be a good project to practice here instead of on a remote riverbank trying to get my canoe back together so I can float home. So the ribs are in pretty bad shape. I got a couple holes here. I've got a hole here. I've got another one down here. I've got one here. And it's still dented in pretty good, but this thing will pop right out. So once I secure some ribs in here where they popped out, it should hold that shape for me. So I kind of ID'd what's wrong with the canoe, besides the fact that it's a piece of junk. It probably got hit in the middle and was caught in a strainer and pinned. And it probably bent itself backwards, so the center rib broke. I broke in the middle. I broke completely down on the bottom here. And up on the top, I haven't got into that far yet, but it's probably going to be the same thing. Now, I've got a small hole right here. So that's no big deal compared to the other stuff I got to deal with. And then the stern rib, this was actually welded in. I had a couple spots that were welded, not very well, and most of it was just Bondo. So that little grinder, or the flat wheel on that grinder, kind of knocked away all that fiberglass without a whole lot of issues. This one was welded, and when I pulled the the aluminum off the patch, where the big gob of nasty, horrible weld was, pulled free. So luckily they didn't weld it that good, so it just popped right out of there. But bad for me is I've got to replace, probably a little bit of these ribs. So a support piece on both sides should do it. That middle one, I'm gonna have to fix those holes as well. Now I've got just fiberglass on the backside everywhere. I can't really see what's going on there. So even though I can't see what's going on the backside yet, I'm just gonna knock that off with the grinder. I'm gonna get a Scotch-Brite wheel for this. I just didn't order one yet. And just clean up the canoe in general. The sandpaper is a little aggressive, and you really got to be careful. You'll dig a hole right through this boat. I'm just barely lightly kissing off some of the heavier pieces of Bondo. So at least at this point, I've kind of ID'd how to get this Bondo off, and that sandpaper on the grinder is doing a pretty good job. And I've also ID'd my major problems. So I've got a couple holes in the boat, a couple leaks at least, and I've got 2 ribs to replace essentially, or overlap, and make a filler piece for it. So in the next video, I'm going to clean the exterior off and make sure I don't spend too much time on one area if it's too deep. If I have to cut out a piece and put a full patch in, I want to do that. So I'm just going to flip it over next, clean the exterior, and at least start sourcing the materials and getting the radius for my ribs so I can put them in after that. Till next time, this has been Jamie Boggs with Burning River Bushcraft. See you soon.